Okay, so I'm going to assume that they want you to do this equation by hand. So I'm going to use elimination because I can't get one of those variables easily alone because they all have coefficients other than one. So I'm going to go ahead and take these three equations in three variables and reduce them to two equations in two variables and eventually to one equation in one variable so I can solve for one of the variables and then work my way back. So the first thing I notice is I see a 2 and a 4x, 2x and a 4x. So I'm going to multiply the top equation. I'm going to multiply it by -2. And what that'll do is give me a -4x, which when I add it to the bottom equation will cancel out my x's. So I'm looking to cancel out one of the variables. So I'm just going to go with the x. Doesn't really matter, but usually people think that's a little easier if it's possible. So here's that bottom equation, unchanged. And as you can see, if I add them together, I'm going to get -1y minus 2z equals 3. So there's one of my two equations that I'm going to need with two variables that I'll eventually get down to 1. So I need to use that third middle equation. So I'm going to use the 3x minus 4y plus 5z equals -5. And I'm going to cancel it with, I'm going to use either one. It doesn't really matter which one. So I'll just use the bottom one. It doesn't, again, matter. And I'm just going to rewrite them next to each other so you can see what's going on. And again, I have a 4 and a 3. So I'm going to have to multiply both of them by a different number. I'll do the bottom one by -3 and the top one by +4. And so the top one will now become 4 times heavier everywhere. So -16y plus 20z equals -20. And the bottom one, I'm going to multiply by -3. There's that -12x. That'll cancel out the x's. You always want to cancel out the same variable. Minus 15y minus 18z equals -15. All right, so there's the x canceling again. Make sure it's always the same variable when you're reducing down your number of equations. And that's 2z equals -35. Yep. Okay, so then I'm going to go ahead and take these two equations that I have here and here, and I'm going to put those together. So I'm going to write them up one above the other. So you can see this one's going to work out real nicely because the z's will cancel right away. I don't have to do any manipulation. And that gives me -32y equals -32. So y is 1. So I have one of my answers here. Y is 1. Hooray! Yay! I got y is 1. So now I'm going to work my way backwards, and I'm going to get z using one of these two equations, and then I'm going to work my way back and find the x. So if I use the top equation, and I put y is 1 in, then I'm just going to go ahead and solve for z. Add 1 to both sides, and z is going to be -2. So there's my second one. Yay! And then I go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and it doesn't really matter which equation because now I have y and z. So I'm going to go ahead and put it in the first one, each of those two, 2x plus 3 times 1 plus 4 times -2 equals 1, and just finish solving this for for x. So -8 equals 1, 2x minus 5 equals 1, 2x equals 6, and x is 3. So there's my last variable. Yay! And I would always go back and check. And the way I would check is I'd do either of the second or the third equation. I would put these variable values in and just double check that it worked out, that they both, like the second one, when I put them in, I got a -5. And when I put it in the third one, those values, I got a 5. And that's how you do it.